Hi, I'm Janine, Managing Partner and Director of Center for Coaching Switzerland and South Africa. And I would like to introduce to you our latest workshop series called Leading with a Coaching Style. The purpose of this series is to share with leaders, people in the workplace, people who want to get things done, become more efficient, more effective as leaders, to show you how to do this whilst using coaching principles. Because we realize that although we are really good at teaching people how to coach everybody, there are times in the business world where you are not in a coaching moment. There are times where you need to be very clear, very direct. You need to make a clear request of somebody, for example. Or you might have to stand back and say, actually, no, I can't do this thing. How do you do that without damaging relationships? And how do you do that whilst making sure that your team or the people you make requests of actually understand your request properly? We also realize that in organizations, the one conversation that happens least of all and that is most needed is feedback. I can't tell you how many executives I have coached who have literally been the last person to hear the bad news about their behavior. So this workshop is designed to show you how do you give feedback to somebody in a way that develops them, that leaves them feeling excited and motivated and able to step into doing things differently with your support, but in a way that is exciting for both of you. We call it developmental feedback. And again, it's done with a coaching style. But what happens in organizations where you work with somebody, you give them feedback, you coach them, you make requests, and still they do not do what you need them to do? That comes a time where you as a leader or manager, you need to pay attention to your own needs and to what's not working for you. And that's when we teach you how to have the next kind of conversation, which we call a courageous conversation. So a courageous conversation is where you say, you know what, I'm not so interested in you and your development. I need you to hear me right now. It's what I call a selfish conversation, but it's a conversation attending to your own needs. And so often people in the workplace, when they really hear that, they go, okay, of course, I will work with that. So we teach you how to have that conversation before it becomes a shouting match and before tempers get lost. We show you how to have the conversation in a way that actually develops the relationship and allows you to clear the air between all of you. There's another scenario that we discovered in our years of working with corporates, and that is something that nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to break trust with somebody else. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to let you down. Nobody wakes up saying, I want to disappoint my colleagues or my boss. And yet we do it. Sometimes, usually without intention, we break trust. So the next workshop we do is called Becoming More Trustworthy. So building and rebuilding trust. But the focus is on oneself and what I have done to perhaps break trust with others. So that's quite a confronting workshop, because nobody likes to think that they themselves break trust. They much prefer to look at everybody else who breaks trust for them, who lets them down. But when do I let you down, and how do I work with that? So a key aspect we work there is not only to see yourself and your own behaviors and actions more carefully, but also to look at the element of forgiveness. How do I forgive myself? Because when I've done something like that, I need to not only request forgiveness from others, or at least clear the air, but I need to say to myself, it's okay. People make mistakes. So those workshops are very powerful and important. And then the final workshop that we work with is called mentoring, how to amplify talent. Because we know that in this world there's skill shortages, there's not enough skilled labor in the world, and people want to learn and grow. I always say to my coachees, who is your mentor? So when you are mentoring, you are sharing your own experience. You're saying to people, this is what I did, and let me share with you my story and my experience. And people find that incredibly helpful. So the mentor workshop is designed to show you as a mentor how to have that conversation, and it shows the mentee how to get the most out of the relationship and the most out of the mentoring relationship. As a final sort of wonderful thing, we also show you as a mentor how to design a mentoring program, or what's the big picture of this mentoring program or the mentoring relationship I'm going to have with you. And we find that that addresses the two most difficult things that people struggle with in mentoring, is how to have the actual conversation, and also how to have an arc, a sort of an outcomes, a purpose to the mentoring. With these 6 conversations, we find that all of them, because they're done in an integral way, using a coaching style and using the principles of coaching, they are all extremely affirming, rewarding, and enabling of yourself and everybody around you. So come and join us.